Wow, I haven't done this in a while, so I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. Hi plant queens, welcome back to my channel. I'm Saab, and today we are ranking my entire Philodendron collection. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say hello again. I was away for quite a bit because I've been going through some important changes in my life. I've transitioned from one workplace to another, so everything's okay. I really just wanted to focus on that for a little bit, and now everything's a little bit more stable. I can get back to making plant content for all of you. And I just wanted to say thank you as well for everyone who reached out to me on Instagram asking if I was okay, because I haven't been posting a lot on there either. But yeah, I just want to reassure you guys that everything's fine, and I really appreciate all your messages and also everyone who has still been commenting on my YouTube videos, really encouraging me to get back into it. Thank you so much. So I thought for my first video back after a long time, we would go through all my philodendrons, which I had promised I would do for so many times, and here I am finally doing it. And this has been an idea on my mind for a really long time actually. I've been wanting to rank my philodendrons just because I think it would be interesting for me to look back on a few years later when I have more philodendrons or if my tastes change. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Oh, sorry, last disclaimer. I know it says ranked worst to best, but I love all of these plants. If you've been a subscriber for a while, then you know that I've said before how I tend to whittle down my collection to plants that I absolutely adore just because I don't have a lot of space. I live in a tiny condo. So even though I put something on the bottom of the list, that doesn't necessarily mean I don't love it, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's enough of that. Let's just get right into it with the first one. Oh, this is going to be such an unpopular opinion. Okay, I'm holding it off camera, and I already know this is gonna be an unpopular opinion because this is a philodendron that so many people love. I've just fallen not completely out of love with it, but I'll just show you. This is my Philodendron micans. How do I get all of that into frame? Here. It's all the way up to the bottom here. So some of you may be thinking, well, there's nothing wrong with it, like why don't you like it? And I actually love the individual leaves of this plant. Like, it's known for being velvety and having chocolatey new leaves, but I just don't appreciate how messy it grows. Yeah, you can kind of see what I mean. It's not as neat as like a heartleaf philodendron, which will be later on in this list. So I really like my plants neat and kind of looking perfect. I know that's not healthy, but it's just part of the process for me, keeping them trimmed, keeping them looking good. And that's so hard to do with this because it kind of just goes everywhere. But I'm not getting rid of it. It has sentimental value for me. And I still love the individual leaves. I just don't like the plant as a whole. I almost dropped it. Okay, so this next one, probably also an unpopular opinion. But this is my Philodendron Brazil. And it's just in water. I need to change that water. But here are some of its new leaves, which are absolutely adorable, I think, actually, now that I look at it. But the thing with this plant is I don't appreciate how it looks right now, which I think is the only reason it's at the bottom of this list along with the micans, to be honest. If it were a lush full plant, I would probably like it better. So the reason this is sitting in water is actually because it rotted on me a few months ago. I don't know what happened. It was just in leca, and then I probably let the reservoir dry out, because if your plant's in leca and the reservoir dries out and then you refill the reservoir, then the roots will get rot because they've been destroyed by the air, and you resaturating that with water would lead to rot. And I think that's what happened with this one. So it's my fault for neglecting it, but I think I'll try again with this plant because I really do appreciate the variegation and how fast it grows. So yeah, maybe it'll be higher up on my list when I do an update video eventually. But yes, this is my Philodendron Brazil. Next on my list, I'm just going to show you because you probably won't recognize what it is. But believe it or not, this is, I just dropped some pon. This is a Philodendron Pandora form. Is that focusing? Let's focus on the biggest leaf. There. So I will put a photo up here of what a mature Pandora form looks like. And the only reason, I'm sure as you can tell, that this is on the bottom of the list as well is because it doesn't look like that photo yet. And this has been on my wish list for the longest time, but it's pricey, at least where I'm from. So I am just holding on to this one that I got in a trade. I actually grew this from a single node, and it has been with me for, I would say, maybe half a year, a little more. So it takes a while to grow a plant from a chunk, but I'm a patient person and I don't want to spend a lot of money on plants. So this is what I have, and it's making progress. You see, this is the smallest leaf that it had before, and now the newer leaves look more like that. So yeah, all of these are growing in pon, by the way, and if you don't know what pon is, I will put images of the videos I've done before. You can check out my channel for that. But my philodendrons, most of them are growing in pon, except for the few that are in water and leca. Okay, so from this point onwards, I really don't have anything bad to say about the plants. So I'm just going to be gushing about the rest of my philodendrons with you guys. I hope that's okay. This next one is definitely a popular plant. It used to be underrated, but now I'm pretty sure a lot more people love it or have it in their homes. This is a Philodendron Painted Lady. You can see how adorable she is. It's the perfect time to show you actually because as you will see, the older leaves fade back to green with a little bit of mottling, but the new leaves come out this beautiful yellow orangey hue. This is actually fading back already, so it's not in its full glory, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So that's what I absolutely love about this philodendron. I remember the first time I saw one in a garden center, I was so stunned by the stems or the petioles that it had. Like, the color is just a vibrant red when it comes out, and I absolutely wanted it in my collection. So I'm glad that I have this, and I'm probably never gonna let it go. Okay, this next one has been a little bit neglected, so don't judge me. A lot of these have experienced or suffered some neglect from me because, as I mentioned, I am going through quite a busy period in my life. But they're philodendrons, so they're really tough. This is a philodendron Ring of Fire. I think I showed this in a recent haul, not so recent, maybe a few months ago. I got this from my friend Tony, and it probably only had 3 leaves, so it's steadily growing. But as you can see, the new leaf warped like that, and I know exactly why this happened. I underwatered it as it was unfurling. So if you underwater your plants when they're developing new growth, there's a big chance that the new growth will come out deformed. Because in my experience at least, plants need a lot more water when they're developing new leaves because they need that extra energy, right? So if you're not familiar with this plant, it's known for having those speckled leaves that come out a beautiful striking orange. I think I have an image of a new leaf of this coming out, and you'll see how gorgeous it is. That's why it's called Ring of Fire, because it's shaped like a ring and the new leaves come out looking like fire. So this is my Philodendron tortum. Wow, she has grown so much. Here, this is a terrible background to show plants. You can see that, right? But I started with this plant maybe with just a leaf. Yeah, I think it was just a leaf. I got it in a trade. It was this leaf even. This broken boy down here. And now it's like a tiny tree. I absolutely love it. I have considered putting a pole on it, but I think it would kind of ruin the look. I don't know. This would make a nice Christmas tree for December, don't you think? I think it's so cute. I absolutely adore the shape of this philodendron, which I think is the reason a lot of people love it, or I'm not really sure. I haven't been very active in the plant communities. Have you heard of a Philodendron tortum before, and what do you think about it? It's probably not for everyone now that I look at it, just because of how unique the shape is. It's a palmate-like plant, so I'm sure not everyone is into that. But those who are will understand why this plant is so stunning to look at, and just the new leaves when they come out. It's amazing to watch. It's like watching a dance. The new growth and the growth structure are the reasons that I absolutely love this plant. This next plant is also pretty popular, so it's probably something you've heard of before if you love your philodendrons. And this is the Philodendron Brandtianum. So it's known for these, what's a good leaf to show you? It's known for these very silvery leaves, but it's also known for being a little finicky. So I'm going to show you the result of my neglect right here. I usually have the humidifier on for this little gal at night when the AC is on and the humidity drops, but I haven't been doing that, so the new leaves are coming out very wonky, as you can see. So I'll have to start doing that again, because this brandtianum, to have perfect leaves, really enjoys high humidity. I'm not sure if it's like that for everyone, but if it is for you, do let me know. I'd be interested. It's a pretty decent grower. This was actually a lot bigger before, but I chopped it down to sell some propagations and also put some back in the pot just so it's lush all around. And I'm excited to see it climb up the pole. This next one, I have been wanting this plant for such a long time, and I even had it imported just to be able to get my hands on it back when it wasn't very available, because now, at least where I'm from in the Philippines, it's very available and it's much cheaper. But I still don't regret getting it so early on because it's such a stunning plant. And that is this Philodendron burlmarks, variegated. She is so beautiful. This is my favorite type of variegation. I think this leaf captures that. I don't really enjoy the full half moon variegation. I find that that's very risky. Like if it's a full block, half of the leaf is just yellow or white, then there's a big chance that the next will be pure yellow or pure white or just pure green. So I really appreciate variegation that's more even throughout, and this plant has shown that it's like that. Although some parts of it are reverting, I haven't been doing my job of maintaining the variegation because I've been so busy. So I should actually trim this down to make sure that it doesn't completely revert. But yes, this is my Philodendron burlmarks variegata. Absolutely gorgeous. Definitely one of my favorites. This next one I also got as just one leaf, and I'm really happy at how far it has come. It admittedly has not matured as much as I would have wanted it to, but that's okay. She can take her time. This is a Philodendron gigas. Wow, that looks so stunning on camera. So wow, she's actually much bigger now, because the leaf I got was this one, and look at how tiny that is compared to this new leaf. And actually there's a newer leaf here, but it's not done growing. But she is getting bigger and climbing up this pole, so I'm excited to see what she does. I really love how velvety these leaves are, and I do prefer this to the melanochrysum. A lot of people say they look the same. I would say they look similar, but the gigas is very different, because I've seen a melanochrysum in person, and I would say that aside from the lobes, gigas leaves are also just thicker and heavier, if that makes sense. If you have seen both, or if you have both, let me know what you think the difference is in the comments. I'd be interested to see that. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites. It's not the fastest growing, but each new leaf is so rewarding. So the next plant I actually can't show you because it is on my wall and I'm trying to get it to attach to the wall, not very successfully. It's my Philodendron 69686. I should include some footage here of the plant right now. So this is known in the plant community as sort of the poor man's UPI, because it's the more affordable version of that expensive plant, and it has the same lobes and kind of thin body on the leaves. but obviously it looks very different and it's kind of cuter in my opinion. I like cute plants, so I appreciate this a little bit more, although I wouldn't mind owning a UPI if given the chance. So this is a very easy philodendron. It's a very fast grower as well, as long as the roots are established, and it seems very happy in this spot right under the grow light and growing in pond. So this next plant I think is definitely an underrated one, and I'm not sure if that's because not a lot of people know about it or because it's hard to get, or both. So this is a Philodendron brandtianum Affinity. Sometimes it's called brandtianum wild form. And yes, it is a brandtianum like the one I showed you earlier. Where is that? Here, I'll show you the two side by side so you can kind of see the difference. Oh, it is so hard. Why is this so difficult? There you go. I'm sorry I'm shaking so much. This is not fun. But you get the point, right? So this kind of has thicker, bigger leaves. And this actually used to go all the way up here, and I cut it just 2 weeks ago, so I'm propagating bits of it. And this is much easier than the original brandtianum in my experience, because I think the leaves are thicker and the petioles are thicker as well. It's not as sensitive to low humidity, over underwatering or anything like that. And I just think it's so much prettier. This base cut is the one that I originally got, so this is the original leaf that I bought. I bought it as a cutting, and it's still intact, so that shows you just how resilient this plant is. And I'm just waiting to see what will happen because it's the first time I've propagated it, so I'm waiting for something to come out of this base cut before I sell it or maybe trade it. But yeah, this is the Philodendron brandtianum Affinity. Look at how stunning that is. Why are people not talking about this more? So I might be cheating a little bit with this next plant because as far as I'm aware, this has been reclassified into Somatophylum, so it's not a philodendron anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm still gonna include it. This is a Somatophylum or Philodendron Xanadu variegated. So you can see how gorgeous those leaves are. I absolutely adore this plant. Just look at that. Wow. So you are probably familiar with the Xanadu. It's a very common philodendron, but I don't think a lot of people know that there's a variegated version, which is absolutely stunning. My favorite part about this plant, aside from the variegation, is how it grows. Like you can see it grows in a kind of rosette pattern, like the ring of fire. And this is actually not looking so good. I had to remove some bottom leaves the other day because I underwatered it and they dried out. But it's a very sturdy philodendron, so it's really easy to take care of as long as you're not neglectful like me, right? But if there is anything challenging about this philodendron, it's propagating it because of how close together those nodes are. I really do have to take leaves off in order to chop it, and that's really sad when it's a beautiful lush plant and I have to remove some of its leaves to chop it up. So I don't really tend to propagate this so much. But here is another look at her gorgeous leaves. If you can get this, I definitely suggest it. It's so beautiful. So this next plant is one of my little weirdos, and you will immediately see why when I turn it around. This is a Philodendron Low Mania. So it's a small one, and you can definitely see that it's a Low Mania, right? But if I turn it around, you will see that it has this little freaky double leaf thing going on. And this is actually the second time it has done this. So I think it's just the plant's genes that sometimes it'll release a double leaf. I don't know why that happens. If that has happened to you, let me know because it's really interesting. And this happened maybe 4 months, 5 months ago, and I thought it was a fluke and it would never happen again. I was kind of upset that I wasn't able to show it on video. But yeah, here I am showing the new double leaf. It's so adorable and it's a little weirdo, and it's definitely one of my more unique plants. And it's putting out a new leaf right there. Definitely not an easy philodendron for me. I think the problem is that if you get it as a baby and it's not so established, it's really hard to get it to be stable enough to hold more leaves. But I think we're getting there. So just a bit of time and patience is all it takes. Okay, third to the last one. We're almost there, guys. And if you have been watching my channel or follow me on Instagram, then this next plant is no surprise to you. I'm holding it up off screen, sorry. This is my Philodendron neon heart leaf, and that there's no way I can fit that in the frame. But here she is in all of her glory. I don't know what to say, but you can see how different it is from the Mycans, just the way it kind of falls over, trails down. I don't know what the right term is, but it's neater. Do you see what I mean? Am I making any sense? And I love how the new leaves come out this bright yellow, sometimes bright orange. Look at how bright orange that is. That's absolutely gorgeous. And then they fade back to a more limey color, like up here. And then they fade back to green. So I just think it's so entertaining, and it's been one of my favorites for such a long time, and for a good reason. I'm never gonna get tired of this plant. If I had a favorite common houseplant, this would be it, for sure. I'm sorry, Marble Queen, but the neon heartleaf really is just such a gorgeous plant. And yeah, I'm so glad that it's this lush already. I should probably propagate this and give some away, but I just love seeing it grow. Okay, this next plant is also no stranger to my channel, so if you've seen my videos before, then you've probably seen this plant. This is my Philodendron Florida Ghost. So here is why it's called a ghost, if you're not familiar. This is its gorgeous white leaf that comes out as the new growth. And then it fades back to a more minty leaf like that, and then it completely turns into a green leaf eventually, like this. So that process is just so entertaining to watch, and also the way that the shape changes as it matures is just really fun to see. Like, you can see how different the shape of this leaf is. Is that focusing at all, or is it focusing on my face? There you go. How different this is to the newest one. Like, that is such an insane transformation. And it's even starting to get like lobes here, so that's probably gonna do something interesting when the next leaf comes out. And it's a pretty fast grower, so it's very entertaining and fun to grow, as just it's such a nice surprising plant. And you can see how red the petioles are as well, so that's also a fun touch. Finally, how many minutes have we been talking? Okay, a little over 20 minutes. That's not so bad for my entire philodendron collection, guys. But anyway, finally the last philodendron, and my favorite among all of them. Some of you maybe have a clue what it is. I'll be chopping it up later today. Don't scream no in the comments if you don't agree with me, but it's time. Here is my Philodendron Florida Beauty, and she has become a beast. She started out as one single leaf. Let's stop and appreciate her, starting from the bottom up. This is 2 plants in the pot, by the way, if you're wondering why it's lush. That's not my magic or anything. It's just that it's 2 plants that I propagated. This is the newest leaf of the bottom plant, so it's not fully hardened off yet, but you can see how gorgeous the variegation is already. And going up here, this is the original leaf, so not a lot of variegation, but then it's started spewing out more variegated leaves as it grew. It's dripping water everywhere, but that's okay. I think this is probably my favorite leaf of all of them, because look at that. That is just gorgeous. That's a thumbnail right there. Definitely. That's beautiful. And this is the latest leaf on the very top. So I definitely got lucky with the genes of this one, and I didn't actually buy this. I traded one leaf before. I think I traded it for a Cupria, Alocasia Cupria. It was much more expensive back then. And I am air layering it here, as you can see. So I will be cutting from that point and keeping the top cut, probably trading the rest. And there's one dinky leaf here. you can see this is a weird leaf. That is because I assisted the leaf in coming out of the petiole and I accidentally snapped it. So I know it's tempting, but don't do that. So I love this plant. It brings me so much joy. I have to admit it's a little bit anxiety inducing when new leaves are coming out because you're kind of thinking, oh, is it going to be variegated and am I going to have to cut it to keep the variegation? But it's worth it because when it shows you this new leaf, it just takes your breath away. So that is my entire philodendron collection ranked. I will probably be doing more of these videos, although not so often because it's a little hard to rank an entire genus of plants. So maybe once every few months or so. Let me know down below if you agree with my ranking or if you want me to rank a specific genus. And as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'm at Marble Queen. Again, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Please like the video and comment down below. It really does help me out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!